Alright my friends, welcome back. It is time for another Motorweek Retro Review reaction. This week it is something a little bit different. So I've had a comment on one of my videos which says that when I look at these retro reviews that, quote, I don't like anything. And I think my wife would disagree because she feels I like everything and I'm overly critical on some of these. So this week, instead of picking something I was truly interested in, I decided to go for something that I absolutely 100% know there's no criticism, there is no fault with this vehicle. It is absolutely perfect and I can't say anything negative about it. It is the 89 Eagle Talon TSI. Let's get into it.
Well, hello and welcome again to Motorweek 89. We're glad to have you with us. If you've ever accelerated hard in a front drive car and had the steering wheel pulled out of your hand, then you've experienced the condition known as torque steer. It's a common characteristic of front drivers, especially the hotter ones like this Plymouth Laser. The folks who designed the Laser and its sibling, the Mitsubishi Eclipse, recognize this, and they have a solution. Put the power through all four wheels. The four-wheel drive option will be available on the Eclipse as well as Eagle's new Talon. And it's that Eagle Talon TSI that's the focus of this week's road test.
So let's talk about the styling up front. I love it. I love almost everything about it. I love the pop-up headlights. I love the narrow lights up front. I love the two-door styling and that little wing that's built into the third quarter panel. I love this car. I really do. I had a friend who had a Mitsubishi Eclipse, as I recall, turbocharged, all-wheel drive, and sure, the turbocharging was kind of an on-off, but man, it was a fun car to drive. It was unbelievable. I'm very positive about where this is going, but exterior-wise, I like this car. I like this car a lot.
If you've been following the Chrysler-Mitsubishi Diamond Star partnership, you know that the Eagle Talon is the third version of this handsome sport coupe that the two companies have released. But while last, it's hardly the least impressive. That's evident by the TSI's aggressive styling, which is similar to that of its all-wheel drive sibling, the Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. From a deep chin spoiler with its cavernous air scoop to the slickly upturned tail, the Talon TSI loudly states its high-performance leanings.
And I will say I love the rear end of this car. I like how the quarter panel here melds into the spoiler with that full-length light bar, right? I really like this car. I don't know. I think there's a few improvements I would make, but they're minor. Overall, perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Even the turbine-style alloy wheels look designed to go fast. Less evident is the Talon's all-wheel drive system. It uses a viscous coupling limited-slip rear differential. What that mouthful of words means in English is that the platform now has handling to match its styling. It was especially evident in our track test, where the all-wheel drive Talon exhibited the Audi Quattro-like cornering behavior that so many manufacturers have tried and failed to emulate. The two-wheel drive car's front plow is still there, but the tail now stays firmly planted. Stability is the key word in the TSI's handling. Much of the credit goes to the independent rear suspension that comes only with the all-wheel drive system. Our only real complaint is a power steering pump that loses its power when the wheel is cut hard. This newfound stability does have its price, but it's a very reasonable one. Final pricing had not been set when we tested the Talon, but sources at Eagle estimate that the TSI will start at $15,000. The all-wheel drive option will add $1,500. Even fully loaded, our Talon TSI's price tag shouldn't exceed $18,000. That easily undercuts most of the all-wheel drive competition. While we're comparing numbers, let's look at horsepower. The TSI's 2-liter dual overhead cam turbocharged 4-cylinder breathes through 16 valves to make 195 horses. That's 5 more than Toyota's Celica All-Track and 26 over Audi's new Quattro Coupe. It launches the all-wheel drive Talon from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. The quarter mile ends in 15.2 seconds at 93 miles per hour, just slightly slower than the best we've managed in a two-wheel drive Diamond Star.
So 6.5 seconds, that's no joke. And in fact, that's pretty strong by today's measurements, right? That's quick, guys. That's really quick. Very impressive, honestly. I'm curious to see more of what they say, but in the world of 1989 and what you've got available, including Preludes and things like that, because I drove one of these it was a Mitsubishi at the top spec trim, I am really, really impressed with them. Super grip, super powerful, really comfortable. And the numbers back it up.
And gone is that front drive car's teeth-chattering torque steer and squealing tires. With all 4 tires gripping together, you have to work very hard to get any wheel spin at all. Close gear ratios in the 5-speed manual transmission keep the power flowing evenly, though the shifter in our test car had a rather notchy action. The extra traction and 300 pounds of drivetrain gives the Talon a sluggish feel off the line, but the excellent acceleration numbers show it to be just feel. There's plenty of feel in the brakes as well. 4 8.6-inch discs haul the car down from 60 miles per hour at an average distance of 121 feet. There's lots of feedback through the brake pedal, and stability is good.
So let's stop there. So I have said on multiple of my more recent retro reviews that 115 is the magic number. And cars can hit 115, but there's a lot of drama about it. Wheels lock up, the car slides side to side, but did you see that? 120-ish linear feet, and it just stopped. Really, really impressive.
The past experience has shown us that this platform's brakes can fade heavily when worked hard. The Eagle's interior design is identical to that of its Plymouth and Mitsubishi siblings. It's the same varied approach to textures, but our Talon exhibited a much more harmonious blend of colors than the Laser or Eclipse. Colors aside, this dash design remains one of the best in recent memory.
So let's jump in here before they say anything else. I like it. I don't love it. I like it a lot. The steering wheel is clean, big gauges, lots of gauges, big controls for the HVAC and the radio down low, lots of buttons, lots of sliders. It's a little bit of a mess, right? They could do more, but the big controls are up top and they're relatively simple. The cowl oriented towards the driver, that makes sense for a two-door sports car. Oh my gosh, I have to admit, the slanted vent right there, I will never be able to unsee it. That's just not right. But overall, very clear, very obvious gauges. And in my experience, when I drove one, that was it. You drove, you pressed a button, you turned a knob. It just worked. It worked so well.
Its efficient driver-oriented controls and clear, comprehensive gauges can't be beat. The optional leather seats are comfortable and well padded, with a wide array of manual adjustments. While the seat bottoms are short for taller drivers, our only real complaint is about the great-sounding stereo. The many tiny buttons are confusing. The same cannot be said of the large heat and ventilation controls, which are as idiot-proof as they get. Rear seating is for children only. Most people will probably just fold the split rear seat back down to make cargo space. They'll really have little choice. The extra bulk of the all-wheel drive system has forced the spare tire up into the cargo bay, cutting useful space by 50%. Fuel mileage estimates for the Talon TSI all-wheel drive are 20 city, 25 highway. Our mixed test loop returned only 20 miles per gallon. Interior noise fared better with a moderate reading of 68 decibels. In our safety check, the Talon passes with front passive restraints and rear shoulder belts, but it lacks anti-lock brakes. One of its main competitors, the Toyota Celica All-Track, does have anti-locks, but it's also a lot more expensive. The Celica isn't as quick as the Talon, but offers similar luggage and interior space. The Subaru XT6 cost about the same as the Talon. It's a good deal slower to 60, and its sedan-like performance can't match the Eagle's pure sports car handling. Its quirky styling is also unlikely to appeal to those who like the Talon. On our list of hits, the Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive leads off with improved handling over its front drive relatives. All-wheel drive also means no more torque steer. We're also pleased with the excellent interior design, aggressive styling, and reasonable price range. Misses are minor: the reduced luggage space, mediocre fuel mileage, and inefficient radio controls. So, in total, the all-wheel drive Talon TSI ends up offering much more than the rest of its Chrysler-Mitsubishi clan. The addition of all-wheel drive cures the platform's handling problems without driving the price out of sight. That's quite an accomplishment for any car company, let alone two companies working from opposite ends of a huge trade deficit. It points to a bright future for the Talon and its siblings, as well as the Chrysler-Mitsubishi Diamond Star partnership that created them. And once again shows that the last can come first.
Interesting. Very positive, I felt. And I tend to agree. The Prelude was great. The Celica was great. But this, I think, is an underappreciated car. For what it truly offered. And I think it's because it was diluted through the Dodge and Eagle and Plymouth brands. If Mitsubishi had just offered this product, or maybe just Eagle, I think it would have had a little bit more respect, honestly. The interior was comfortable to sit in for not just tooling around town, but also for longer tours, right? More GT level tours. The interior was easily laid out, easy to work. It was plastic, okay? But it was simple to work. The transmission was, okay, they said notchy. That's fine. It's good. It's very good. But the engine and the transmission together, it was an amazing car. It was so strong. It was so powerful. But it did have a little bit of an on-off capability, right? It was a little like sluggish. Bam! You've got power. And it was a little scary, as a matter of fact. But then the four-wheel drive system was there to tame it and keep you out of the ditch. I know that from personal experience. This is a fantastic car. I really, from the 80s, early 90s, I really love this car and really respect it. It was so powerful, so strong, and unbelievably reliable, in my opinion, and those of who I know had one. Little underappreciated, honestly. I think the Prelude and the Celica got a lot of the notoriety, but this Mitsubishi, I think this is right up there with the best of what they offered. They just didn't get any notoriety for it. It's a strong engine, strong transmission, strong all-wheel drive system. It handled great. It rode fine. It rode wonderful. It was so incredible. And people have just forgotten about it. Let me know what you think below, guys.